Girl with dreams so wide, the days turn heavy like an unseen rift. The girl that I was began to fade, and in her place a new self was made.
Welcome to Generation She, the space where we bridge the gap between every stage of womanhood. Whether you're a teenager navigating the first, the college student finding your footing, or a mother balancing it all, this show's for you. We're here to talk about the things that change, the things that stay the same, and the wisdom we can only find when we listen to each other. From the classroom to the boardroom to the living room, we're sharing our stories, our struggles, and our laughs. Because no matter what the season of life you're in, you aren't walking through it alone. I'm your host, Melissa Otten, and today we have two guests. This is Corene, my other sister in law. You guys have met Donita in the first episode. And then my daughter, Danyell, is with us. Now, she is in between college and high school age. She's going to start college this fall. She waited a year to start college. She needed to get some stuff together. What else do we want to talk about? Corene is an artist. I have quite a few of her paintings in my house, but she doesn't just do painting. She has other kind of art too. All right. This episode is called The Weight of Worrying, Anxiety and Our Health. Danielle, you've dealt with severe anxiety and physical symptoms like non-epileptic seizures and depression. When you look back at your journey and numerous counselors and psychiatrists, what did you feel was the most helpful?
Depending on what everything the doctor said, and depending on that they're going to help me and that they understand, and that it's all going to come to me because the doctors are right. And then when I started actually listening to my own body and my own self and actually understanding, I think it became a lot more easier to manage.
I like that. What are the things you tried, whether that it was coping techniques or type of therapy or medication, that you feel in hindsight made your condition worse or caused a setback?
I feel personally that the medication did cause a lot of setback. The anxiety medication, it was good at first, but then after a while and the doctors having to decrease and increase, I just started to realize that they don't know what they're doing and no one knows how to help me, and the medicine definitely wasn't helping me. So
I think some people find that the medication is helpful, and this is from my experience dealing with patients. But I know, looking at what I saw you go through, I hated the medication. You turned from like one person into a completely different person and then another person. And it was like watching somebody fade away. And so for me, it was heartbreaking to see you gone. And the day that you graduated, like when that week you started to like, we took you off your meds, um, and I saw you starting to come back. I cried the day you gave me a hug. I did. Because you didn't do that for like 2 years. You were like gone in a shell and so sad. And there was nothing we could do. And so I was so happy to see you finally to have a feeling. You were so excited. You were smiling. When I saw you smile again was the best.
I agree
I have
too.
taken full advantage of Danielle accepting hugs. I
Yeah,
don't
I
know if
know.
you've noticed. You just saw me yesterday, and I'm hugging you again, and you haven't told me no. So here we are.
I know. Um, she very much isolated at the beginning. And everybody goes through those times as a teenager where they isolate in their room. So like as parents, we just assumed it was then. Like that's what this is. Oh, she don't want to hang out with her parents. We're boring. We're not the cool people anymore. But that was not the case. And so maybe all those people out there, I know all the kids around 12 and 13 start hanging out in the room a little bit more. Um, I found now, in hindsight, that is not okay. And you do need to bring them out of their room so that they can see that they're not alone. I feel like she sat in there and thought she was all alone. You agree?
Yeah.
After going through these challenges, what is one non-negotiable routine or practice that you have found that truly works or manages your anxiety day to day?
I will say the importance of self affirmations because I myself didn't know I had like uncovered childhood trauma. And so even though I like quotations did self affirmations, I never believed them.
Yeah.
So
We were talking about how sometimes they make you spin out.
yeah, I have to actually take the time to like decode my brain
Yeah.
and try to get out of that spiral of ups and downs.
Yeah. Another thing that I don't know if you're aware of, but I know that you also have to have plenty of time before you're to be somewhere. I know, I watch you have adjusted your life, and I don't know if you're always aware of the things that you're doing, but you are doing them. And she's 19. She has a job. So we gave her a key and her lock to her room. That's her safe space. So we're allowed in it, but we don't barge into it. That's her space. So we had to make sure that she had a space that she could feel that she was safe in. So that's what we did there. Do you have anything else? I mean, we've made your room how you like it.
I will say, onto what you said before, I do, before I go to work, I make sure that I have time for everything because I know that I get anxious easily. So I don't want to give myself a reason to be anxious. So I'll wake up early just in case I doze off or something happens or I need to go slower on the road or something like that, or I just need to chill in my car for a second before I start my shift and make sure I have all the time for that. So I'm not always in that anxious feeling because that does trigger a lot of like,
Now, I also have a lot of anxiety about being late, so I try to make sure, but I have nowhere near the anxiety that you do. So I want everybody to realize that everybody feels differently. And it's hard when you're trying to have a kid that tells you that they're anxious because you're like, what are you anxious about? Um, but try not to ignore it or brush it off or act like it's not important. And I learned that too late because you're just like going about your business trying to get your stuff done and you're like, oh, you're okay. But no, no, they're not. They've asked for help. Give it to them. Do you have anything?
Because them asking for help is their act of self-care. So you creating those rituals for yourself is an act of self-care. And it's never too late because she also gets to see that we as seasoned adults are still learning about ourselves. It never stops. It's a journey. and it never stops being caring. It's a journey that you're going to enjoy, but that is self care.
Mhm. Um, the other things are, I know your counselor told you about what I don't know what it's called, but the tapping thing whenever, she feels like she's
The EFT.
yeah. When she's feeling like she's I don't know, you explain the feeling. It's not mine.
Um, well, when I get extreme anxiety, I call it like a pre-episode. That is before I go into like a state of like you from the outside view it look like fainting.
Yeah.
I lose control over my body and I fall. And then if it prolongs on, I can get non-epileptic seizures. And so before I get to that point, things will start moving slow
Mhm.
and I won't be able to react to things in time. My body becomes very heavy. And that's when I realize I'm about to have an episode.
Mhm.
And lately, I've been trying to stop it from getting to the actual episode. And so
Mhm.
that's where the tapping comes in and the self affirmations, the deep diving, decoding comes
Mhm.
in.
I really like the counselor you have now. It took us how many? 3? Okay. She was like in number 3. Um, and the journey was not fun. Um, so my advice is you try not to cry when somebody's coming from a session, but w- she didn't know what she should be like she didn't know who was good and who was not good. And so to let her go in there by herself, and then for the first one I went in with her, I think the second one maybe I was outside in the hallway. Um I just found it to all be hard because for the first lady, she seemed okay at first. And then, later on, I found out that she was literally just telling her, "Yeah, your life is awful. And then crying with her about it. And, any counselor out there, please stop, self-identifying with people like that. Her life was not as awful as what she was telling the counselor, because everything in her life was, like, coded with the depression that she was feeling. So, yeah, she would go in and be like, "I have no friends." Meanwhile, she even looked back at her phone from high school and saw messages from people that were trying to be her friend. And so she's telling this lady that everybody doesn't like her and she has no friends, but she did. But instead of, like, trying to get to the root of why do you think that these people don't like you, she would, self-identify and reaffirm it, and which made her worse. And every time she had a counselor like, time with a counselor, the next day, she would have, like, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 seizures. And we were trying to I was like, "Well, maybe are you bringing up feelings? And is that so hard?" And no, the counselor was like, "Yeah, yeah, it's awful. Your life is awful." So, so those signs were there. We were not seeing them as they really were. So my advice to all the parents out there, if you see somebody getting worse right after a counseling session, you need to start questioning why. Is there a common myth or piece of advice about mental health that you wish people would stop sharing because you know it to be untrue or unhelpful from your own experience?
I definitely want to say that not all mental health is the same. I feel like within my generation, it's come very common the word anxiety and depression, but people often sugarcoat it as like just a way of life. And I feel like it's not a way of life. It's very draining and annoying And for me, it even stemmed into like physical complications that hindered me being able to go to school and even having to take off work for a certain time. So I wish people wouldn't glamorize depression and anxiety and actually give like helpful tips.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think they're trying to trauma bond. Everyone has anxiety. Everyone is going through something. We're all being traumatized by the things in the media and things that we see and things that we have been told are normal. And so we're reacting to those things as we should. Our body's like, something's not right. But like you said, instead of identifying what's not right, you're just bonding over trauma.
Yeah.
And
And it's
now
not helpful.
it's not helpful.
Mm-mm. I hate our healthcare system and I hate insurance. To get to this counselor, we were lucky enough that she works at a job that offers to pay a certain amount of counseling sessions for 40-minute sessions a year, which actually works out that she gets enough for the whole year as long as there's not like a time where she needs to do more. But we will have to pay with our insurance or out of pocket if she goes over those, which we will, but it costs a phenomenal amount of money. And it's like $150 an hour, which is a lot for a person that doesn't make millions of dollars. So they're expensive. The good ones are anyways. And then you get into, we could pay for the other ones because they were like $50 an hour, but they stunk. They were the worst. So if you want somebody that like knows what they're doing, you have to pay for them, which is understandable because obviously they got there somehow. Just our insurance doesn't, they want to talk about how great or how mental health is so prominent and they want a trauma bond about it, but nobody wants to fix anything. There's no way to get anybody help in America without having lots of money or having to pay. I have medical bills I still pay payments on. I mean, we got help, but not really. And then with the non-epileptic seizures, they do look so scary. And people call the ambulance, and the ambulance, even though everything, all the vital signs are perfectly fine, they're still seizing, looking like they're seizing. They're not seizing. They just look like they are. And so then they take them to the emergency room, and the emergency room staff, we've had some that just treat you like you're not there. And like for the first time, they treated us like they just didn't want to talk in front of us, especially the parents. And then finally I just went, listen, I've seen the neurologist come in here and say, oh, she's fine. Okay. So what's wrong? And they're like, um, well, it's this thing. And they have all this other language that they say. Do you remember what it is?
I don't really remember. They kind of like beat it around the bush because they said it
Yeah.
was this, but then they were like, "Oh, but she's not showing signs of this," so kind of like never mind.
Yeah. 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 So they were trying not to invalidate her, but not telling us what was happening. And we were like, well, why are we here? They're like, well, we're going to have her here for observation. We're like, for what? We're just going to make sure, it's not neurological. Okay. That's good. I want to make sure it's not neurological. But then when I figured out what it was, which was definitely halfway through the night, um, they wouldn't talk about it. You're like, what is it? And then finally, I think I just lost my temper. I was like, listen, I'm in the healthcare field too. I don't know why you just won't spit it out. Spit it out. And they were like, oh, well, it's caused by anxiety and it comes out in this physical symptom. I was like, oh, they used to call it a seizure. I was like, I know that's not what it's called anymore, but I was like, I'm familiar. I've had patients that do this. I was like, okay. And then trying to explain to everybody else was the worst. Um, so she's faking it. No. No, she's not faking it. So it's a seizure. No, it's not an epileptic seizure. So her brain is not having any damage when it happens. So yes, her her physical symptoms look like a seizure, but her brain is not being damaged. So there's no need for us to go to the emergency room. And the other thing is it only slightly looks like a seizure if you witnessed a seizure. But if you've never witnessed a seizure, then it's panicky. And so I'm just trying to explain it, and it's so hard because they're like, "So she just makes herself do this." No, she doesn't make herself do this. Her brain tells her body to do this because it's in fight or flight because she's so anxious. And instead of fight or flight, it's seizure. And they're like, oh, okay.
I was gonna say that, along with other people saying I was faking it, that's what the doctors were acting like too.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because when they did like physical checks on me, they're like, I see them sigh a lot, and they're like, "Well, you're not in danger, so I guess you're fine." And they kind of like brushed it off and acted like I was like faking it.
Hmm.
And I was trying to tell them if I could, I wouldn't even be here because I really don't like the hospital.
None of us do. It's the worst place on earth. Especially when you have doctors that are treating you like you are, I don't even know how to explain it. Invalid. You're invalid. You're not worth my time. You're a waste of my time. I'm stuck here dealing with you, and you're doing it to yourself. So
You're not a part of the case study, so there's no reason to stay.
yeah. And so all you healthcare workers out there, stop your little sighing and your little faces. Um, it is true. It is mental health. I know a lot of in the medical field. I know a lot of people that I've worked with don't particularly like mental health patients. Their psych nurses are a special breed. Um, I was one. I mean, I've worked in the psych field for I don't know now 20 years. I mainly deal with mentally challenged folks now, but I haven't always. I've had regular folks with just mental health too. Um, I don't. It's hard. It's hard to deal with some of these people, healthcare workers, because they act like it's a waste of their time because they're triage nurse or their their specialty is neurology and this is not neurology. Okay, thank you for your time. You could just say, this is what we need to do, but there is no this is what we need to do for this.
They don't know,
They have no idea.
and they won't say, "We don't know."
Exactly. And there's a specialty place in Children's Hospital. We were so excited. We got in there. What did they do, Danielle?
They they literally just sat me down and said, "Have you tried breathing?" And then gave me a whole bunch of apps that said about breathing. And they were like, "Oh, you haven't tried breathing? Well, that's why you're having all of these symptoms because you haven't tried breathing."
I know. They acted like they were giving us the Holy Grail. They did. And her and I just looked at each other and she did. She had been doing meditational breathing. Now, I have some more to teach you. I had dumbed into something earlier about it, but so we were doing the breathing where you do the 4 in, the hold for 4, out, you know what I mean? Hold for in 4, out, hold for 4, out for 4. And that's what we were doing. Um, that's one of the ones that they gave you to do. And I was like, "We're doing that." I don't Okay, thanks. That's it? That's all we can do? Well, you can try psychiatry and medication, but that doesn't usually work. Okay, awesome. Counseling could work. You should go to a counselor. Well, she's with a counselor. She's with a counselor, she is breathing, and we just looked at each other like, "This is a waste of time. This was an utter waste of time." They're like, "Okay, we don't need to see you back, bye." There was no follow-up. There was a phone call, like, later on. I think they called your dad's phone. He didn't answer. I was like, "Well, if they call you back, answer and tell them they stink." He was like, "Okay." Or give them my number and I'll let them know how bad they stink. He was like, "Oh, are you hopeful that you will be able to live a full and meaningful life with this condition? And what does a full life look like to you?"
I think because of my recent counselor and fact that she kind of made it clear to me what it means to decode the brain and understand yourself, I feel like I feel a little more confident within myself than I did before. And to me, just one life without episodes would be amazing.
Yeah.
And um just less anxiety, the always the icky feeling like you're on a roller coaster ride or you're seeing heights. I
Yeah.
If I could just walk around and not feel that all the time, that would be also amazing.
I think that you're working towards that, and I see every day you improve a little bit more. I do like your counselor, like I said, she actually has things for you to do, and we need more counselors like that they don't tell you what to do with your life. They don't tell you everything, but she really explained anxiety to you in a way you could understand it. So we need more people that are patient and can sit with somebody and really understand them. And it took her 2 sessions to do your assessment. So she knew exactly where you were and how to come at you in a different way. And that's why I liked her. She actually took information in instead of just instantly giving out information. Corene, how have you personally dealt with anxiety throughout the different life stages, and how has your approach changed over the years?
As a young adult, I believe I was
You have
doing
to come closer.
more mask.
There.
Um, so again, doing more masking, just being in the habit of having certain behaviors that will kind of make people not ignore you, but not ask a lot of questions so that you don't have to think about the things that are making you anxious. But now, as someone who knows all the things that could possibly happen in a day to day in the world, um, to you personally, separating what is actually happening, what you're hearing of what's happening in the world, and what is actually happening. And what is actually happening may not be as bad as the vibe that is going around
Yeah.
the news, social media, social situations where people are talking about um,
Yeah, I have to shut
trending
myself
topics.
away from some stuff because, like, the other night I was having a dream that somebody came to remove me from my home because my home it was like I was in a socialism. I was like, there's way too many politics going on in my head. I need to
Yeah,
stop.
yeah, and that makes a big difference when you're like, that's actually not my day to day.
No.
And then truly treating my mind and my body separately, but equally important for reprogramming. So a technique that I use um, is, again, I've used EFT, I use tapping, and programming myself. The universe takes care of me
Yeah.
because I can have anxiety about anything, everything, past, future, present, doesn't matter.
Don't you I'm always jealous of the people that just have that mindset.
What's that?
Like the world is a good place. You know what I mean? Like
That's
that mindset.
that's separate. That's
But you
not
know
the
what I mean?
same
Like
as the
it will
world.
take care of me. That's what I mean. Like that person that always has had that, oh, the world will take care of me.
That is
And I'm like,
very intentional.
I haven't had that.
It has to be very intentional, and it has to be, again, programming. So when you are coding, you know, zeros and ones, yes or no. That's it. So when you are trying to at least for me, trying to reprogram myself, I have to deal with yes or no. Either it's a yes or it's a no. Anything in between are my emotions being weighted. But what do I want to program? What am I going to believe as my foundation? And my foundation is the universe is taking care of me.
Yeah.
So then I can apply it to whatever's happening. And again, this is programming that when I first started doing this, and this has probably been 20 years ago, um, you might have to reprogram yourself every 35 seconds. And then when you start making routines for yourself, your self-love rituals, including that in your basics. You know, you're doing all these things, prepping your space, prepping your life with the foundation of I'm able to prep because my world is taking care of me. I love myself. I'm safe. This is what's actually happening. There's so many things happening around me, but what's actually happening to me?
Right.
And all of those signs that are happening to me are working for my good.
I think the other thing that I see with Danielle is she thinks that others dislike her or she has upset them when she really hasn't. And sometimes I have to be like, Danielle, you are a great person. You're a very thoughtful person. You think of others all the time. And she doesn't believe me. She still doesn't believe me. But she does, and then I have to give examples, and then she will believe me. I'm like, "Remember, you always worry that it's gonna upset my schedule when you need me to take you to your Aunt Corene's house to get your hair done, and you always schedule it on my day off so that you know that I can take you and it's not gonna interfere with all the other things I have to do." And I was like, "You think of others. That's one example of you thinking of others." And she was like, "Oh, I do."
Well, the whole point of journaling and writing down gratitude lists is so that you recognize that your affirmations are true, that what you're doing is working for you. So for you to be able to say, or you to be able to question, am I doing this thing? Which is good. It's self-reflection because you are your only judge. So you're going to have your answer and you want your answer to be you're doing fantastic. But the way to get to that answer and always be reminded of that answer is to write these things down because it doesn't matter what Melissa thinks. It doesn't matter what someone else thinks because you could be doing all the things and but you can't control that person's perspective
Mhm.
of anyone. So you could be doing all the things and everyone hates, but none of those people matter because the people that matter is just you. It's just me. For my world, it's just me. So the reason why I'm able to trust myself and the reason why you're now able to say, I know these things work, is because you can go back and say, it's work, and here's the result of that. I give myself prep time because I know it's important to me. I don't have to be anxious. I know my world is taking care of me. If something happens, I know it's for my good. And that just has to be the answer because we're still back to programming. We're still back
Yeah.
to computers. It's still science. It's yes or no. And whatever happening that you see, you have to stick to your end. And my end has to be everything's working for my highest good.
Yeah.
And that just has to be the answer because every day something's happening.
True. Here's an example that I had in my younger days. I had a surgery, had a complication from the surgery, and it was a horrendous complication. And I ended up in the hospital for 7 days, some in a coma, and like the last day and a half I was awake. I felt horrible about it. I mean, everybody would not like that. And in the end, I had to go, well, this made me a better nurse because I've been a patient for 7 days, some of them unconscious. And I know who was horrible to me and who was good to me. And I can now feel for that patient because I've experienced it. The world, I was taken care of in the end. I had a horrible thing that happened, but it actually worked out in the long run to teach me a lesson that I now carry my entire life. So even the bad things have a positive outcome if you sit and think of them. It doesn't always happen in the moment, but after I have, and I mean, I learned a lot of lessons in that 7 days. Well, the ones I can remember.
Because your world taking care of you doesn't necessarily mean it's joyful.
No.
I walk around with an attitude like, yes, the world is taking care of me. And I roll my head and roll my eyes because I'm still communicating that through my body. I
Yeah.
have to believe that. I can't trick my body.
No.
I can't think one thing and my body's like, I know. So I have to feel it all the way through. And that's part of that programming.
You actually answered my next question,
Oh,
so we're gonna
okay.
skip it.
What was your question? I'm
It
curious.
was what were the routine practices and mindset
Oh,
shifts that you've used?
yeah.
Um, what have you found in your experience that you thought would have helped you, but ended up making your own anxiety worse? Do you have anything that made your own anxiety worse?
Oh, I'm sure.
I have one. If I just
Being
remember it.
being empathic, um, trying to assume my world is taking care of me, but also trying to be empathic for everyone else who are programming themselves differently. So not everyone is interested in their world taking of and interested in believing that their world is taken care of. And that's okay for them. I have to make sure that I'm okay and I'm not trying to take on their trauma or their foundation
Mhm.
so that we're all comfortable in the even plane.
That goes back to the trauma bonding.
Yes. So no
If
matter what's
yeah.
happening, if that's how y'all feel, I'm sitting here like this, rolling my eyes, confirming, I don't know what y'all doing, but my universe is taking care of me. I
Yeah.
see what you see, but in the end, I'm gonna be sitting over there fine. And that's just again, some things you can't say aloud, but that's that reassurance, that programming,
Yeah.
just making sure. Again, it may not be a joyful situation, but I still have to believe my world is taking in the midst of an accident. I have to say, I need this space. I was in a car crash. It was a double collision. Someone hit us 55 miles an hour. We were completely still parked at a light. I see the car coming behind us. I feel the impact. I don't close my eyes. In those moments, I said, I need space because I feel our car moving forward. And I know there's another car in front of it. I know we're getting ready to hit that car. But I am looking down at my feet saying, I need this space. I'm not going to be crushed. I need this space. And that's what happened. I had that perfect space. I don't remember all the things that hit my body. I remember saying, I need this space and still having that space after being hit by those cars, still having that space, still believing what is happening, but I bet you I'll be fine in the end. Because I still had to get out the car and figure out, are we about to continue to get hit? What I don't know what's happening, but I have to stay in that program space regardless.
And
I'm gonna be okay.
and that is a panic mode. Doesn't matter if you have anxiety disorder or not. That is a panic mode when somebody actually feels that heightened anxiety like no other, and you don't really think straight at all.
But if I wasn't already intentional with
Yeah,
my
it
thoughts,
would have been worse.
it would have been
Yeah.
worse. And
Um,
that's just what it is.
Thinking of Danielle and other young women, what is the biggest difference you notice between how your generation addressed anxiety and how the college student generation is addressing it today?
Um, I think that how they're addressing it now is that they're addressing it, is
Yeah.
that it exists.
I don't think it existed for either one of
It
us.
didn't exist for us.
No,
We were just being traumatized.
all the time.
So they had not yet acknowledged the repercussions of that. We were
No.
just because what we were being traumatized by was intentional. We're being programmed
Yeah.
by all of these things. And now we're able to say, "Oh my God,
Uh-huh.
They were programming us. We're looking at our old movies, they didn't age well. We're listening to old songs, they didn't age well. We're looking at old artists, they didn't age well. Those
Yeah.
situations didn't age well because we were being programmed for the trauma.
Yeah.
So now you guys get to say, "Did you know there was trauma?" And we're like, "Oh my God, you're right." So that alone is completely different experience. I'm talking to my 15-year-old and I'm trying to explain to them both sides of a situation, and they're only seeing one side because they don't have to deal with the necessarily trauma part of it. They're just seeing
Yeah.
how we come out on the other end. And they're like, "But you're fine." Yeah, we're fine now.
Yeah. But we weren't.
No,
Um,
and we're not
we
actually
weren't.
fine, but
Um,
we're getting
we
there.
have learned to personify fine, and that's what we learned. That's how anxiety was for us. You're worried about your first day of school? You'll be fine.
You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. And that was our programming. You'll be fine.
Yep.
You know why you'll be fine? Because you'll be fine.
Handle it.
You'll figure it out.
Here's
You'll
your
be
key.
fine. Oh, you got to walk home from school and you're scared to walk home from school? You'll be fine.
You'll be fine. I've had someone stop and try to pick me up.
I believe it.
Absolutely. On Shady Lane.
Oh,
Absolutely. You think I wasn't walking to school the very next day?
absolutely. You'll be fine. You handled the situation. You'll be fine. So that was our anxiety programming,
Yeah.
just so you know. And
The world is terrible.
it was terrible. The world is terrible, but you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. Hopefully. We'll see.
We'll see.
Well, you'll
Some
be fine
people
if
it
you do
didn't.
these things, but
Yeah, some people that didn't work out for them. Did for us. uh, how has your relationship with Danyell and seeing her go through this change how you think about your own mental health or the way you talk about stress?
I really learned a lot from watching Danielle go through her situation.
Yeah.
Being so very proud of her when she was able to start to recognize that the power was within her. Uh, and also being supported. That was really, really good. For being able to see how you
Yeah.
guys supported her,
Yeah.
how she was able to try out different counselors, try out different medications, on medications, the option to be off medications, the option
Yeah.
to create rituals for yourself and be supported and not questioned and able to try things out and change your mind. Oh my gosh, you get an opinion. We never had an opinion.
Yeah, you'll be fine.
You'll be fine. You don't even need to speak on it. You'll be fine. So
Yeah.
I
I think we changed your mom's perception of mental health. I think her perception has she's much more educated in it than she was. I feel like we did change the "you'll be fine" in her head.
yeah, because the thing is, we are fine, but not for the reasons we were told we were fine.
Yeah.
I realized I was fine because I decided I was going to be fine. And then I made sure that in every situation, again, same baseline, because that is my baseline. I'm okay. But also allowing all of the shadow work. If I have a question, I dig deep. If somebody bothers me, I figure out what it is that's bothering me,
Yeah.
not what they're doing, what's bothering me. And then if it's something that I need them to change, then I address it. If it's something that doesn't matter, then it must not matter.
I find some things that I dwell on for a long period of time, and then I go to address it with the person that made me feel that way, I find out that they never thought of me again.
Exactly.
It was my problem the
Exactly.
entire time. It had
Yep.
nothing to do with them.
Nope, and it never does.
Yeah. Um, this verse, I think it speaks to a deep emotional impact of stress, okay? So it's Proverbs 12:25. Anxiety weighs down the heart, but a kind word cheers it up. Um, the verse emphasizes the connection that can lighten the load. What is the kind word? Either a phrase you tell yourself or something you need to hear from a loved one that helps cheer you up in your heart when anxiety is weighing you down. I think that goes a long way. But like you said, I think this is more emphasized on yourself. The way you read it at first, you're like, oh, a kind word cheers you up, meaning that it always needs to be external, but it does not need to be external. It is also internal.
It actually can't be external because no one knows what you're actually going through or the reason.
Yeah, absolutely.
That word to me is still law. That word to me is still whatever I decided was going to be my programmed word, my trigger word. I probably look crazy when people just see me randomly because I constantly have a smile on my face. And when I see other people smiling, I'm like, "Hey, y'all look crazy." But it is my physical baseline of my mood, of where I am. So if I am feeling a way, I will smile before I have completely worked through the situation in my mind so that my body is like, oh, that's right, our baseline. We're calm. We are safe. We are at ease. Whatever happens is going to be for our highest good. And then I can bring that anxiety down. Okay, let's breathe. Because breathing actually is important. You got to get that oxygen running through your lungs so you can think clearly. You're not panicking. But it's a combination of everything that you have to do to get you there. And for me, smiling is a great trigger. So smiling is that word, that external thing that I can now bring to whatever's happening.
I do that too. I do that smile trick, especially whenever I'm getting a high anxiety because I have to remind myself internally that this doesn't matter, especially in certain cases. Is like, I'm never going to see this person again. I'm fine. I'm okay. I really am fine because it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. What is one shared moment or feeling from this conversation that shows the other generations that they're not walking through their struggles alone? So, do you have anything, Danielle?
Well, everything Aunt Corene said um, made me feel a lot better about the reprogramming because I've have been looking up to you, how you always smile and like you
Not looking
always
crazy.
yeah.
Not the crazy smile, the normal smile.
But I was like, how are you so calm all the time? But like you said that you've been like programming yourself for like 20 years now and you've been trying to redirect yourself from such like grandma
Mhm.
that generation
Mhm.
of
That you'll be
them.
fine.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Mhm.
Mhm.
because even I got a little bit of feedback from that,
Mhm.
and
Yes.
so I thought there was no way out, but seeing how you broke down how you got out of it makes me feel a lot more hopeful about my anxiety and stuff like that.
And it took me all of this time to maybe, I'll say about 5 years ago to say, "Oh, it really is a yes or no." You know, we can wave, we can, pat ourselves on the back, say it's okay, blah, 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 whatever we're going through will be fine, but that's the human part. I call that the human part. I allow myself to be wavy. I allow myself to be emotional. But then the program part of me is like, "Is that gonna stress you? No. Is that gonna stress you? No. Is that gonna stress you? No. Oh, I'm feeling stressed. Oh, I'm tired. Oh, I'm hungry." All these things all at the same time, but the baseline is still, "Is that gonna stress you? No. Oh, let's write our gratitude notes. Let's write our affirmations." All those things are good, but the baseline has to be a yes or a no. And I think that that really took me out of the, "Oh, I'm trying to be better. Oh, I'm trying this." No, you can try,
Yeah.
but when you decide, your body and your mind and your spirit will know.
Yeah. When I quit smoking, I had to say, is this because, you waver on it because you're having like moments where you're like, I need to smoke. I need to smoke. No, I need to smoke. You do not need to smoke. So in your head, you had to be like, well, if you smoke, you're going to feel like crap. So do you need a cigarette? Yes or no? No, I don't need a cigarette. No. So I, I literally got sick and couldn't breathe. So I couldn't smoke. And then I just, at the end of it, and started feeling better. I had one cigarette in this pack that I had held for 7 days and thought, I'm going to smoke this cigarette. And I went outside and I lit it. I took a puff off of it and went, oh my God, this is awful. And I threw it down and I went, do you need a cigarette? No. Should you go get another pack after this? No. And it had to be every time I thought about it, I had to go, do you want to get sick and not be able to breathe again? No. Do you want to live your life? And I've had relatives that died from lung cancer and were literally smoking pretend cigarettes in their like loopiness at the end. I had to think, do you want to be that person? No. So I think anxiety is along the same lines as that. You have to have the mindset and then you have to let it stick. And it took me a long time to figure that out. Currently, I'm struggling with eating right, but I have to go, well, do you want to get sick because you're not eating right? No. Do you want to keep gaining weight and not be able to move? No. So then you make those choices. You're like, well, I can have this tuna fish or I can have that donut. Which one's going to make you feel better? And you're like, I guess I'm going to eat some tuna fish.
Because you can also reprogram your body. You can also reprogram the responses. So, for example, when my oldest two were small, we were, of course, at the doctor because that's just a normal thing to do. And the doctors were saying, a fever causes this and this and this and this and this. And once I realized that the fever was actually doing its job, that you could actually trust your body,
Yeah.
then I could remove that fear of, well, what if? What does that ache mean? What does this mean? What does that mean?
Yeah.
So now I can say, well, this is just my body communicating this thing. It doesn't have to be a bad thing, but it is for me to listen. So now if something happens, I'm not scared. I just solve the problem. Or I just decide as a reminder, because my body's listening, it's okay. Let's do something different. Or let's decide that this means something different because your body is listening. If it listens to you when you're stressed, it's going to listen to you when you're calm. So if you're avoiding stress, you avoid a lot of those triggers, those aches, pains, thoughts that trigger other things that trigger other things that if you go to Google will tell you it means death.
Yeah, I know, right? Don't put that stuff in.
Don't go to Google
Don't do that.
because Google has a different set of parameters.
Yeah.
You have to change your parameters.
If there is one piece of advice you could give to a listener who is afraid to seek professional help, what would it be?
Know that there are tools available to support what you feel you need, just like there are tools available to support things that you don't need. You truly have to be in charge of your results.
I think that you need to do research too. And after what? If you go to the counselor and you go there 2 times and you feel like you're getting worse and you don't feel like it's helping, you need to change to a different counselor. That's my biggest advice. Don't try to stick with them because you would feel bad to tell them that they're fired.
Right. Because you have to recognize what worse feels like. What does worse mean for
Yeah.
you? Because again, that counselor didn't have any problem trying to pull you down to what was actually worse than what you were stating. Not that what
Exactly.
you were stating wasn't bad, but you have to decide, you have to be able to recognize what's worse so that you can have a unit of measure for yourself. Because again, there are going to be tools for whatever the situation, whatever you're looking for. You have to find what's best for you. And that comes from paying attention because no one's going to have the answer but you and your body.
Yeah. I think you should listen to your body. Um, But first, you have to tune into your body. And sometimes listening to those negative thoughts, if that's what you think is listening to your body, it is not.
Correct.
You have to listen to your body, not your negative thoughts.
Or figure out, not or, and figure out where those thoughts are coming from. Figure out if they're your thoughts. Most of the time, it's not even your thoughts, and you don't even know that because it's reinforced through the music, through television,
Mhm.
through the people around you, the people talking about their problems.
Yeah,
It's everywhere.
you take on other people's problems. Some people do. That's another thing I think I do reiterate to Danielle sometimes because somebody will be like, I'll be worried about something and I'll be like, ah, and she'll be like, and then she starts feeding. I go, oh my gosh, no, Danielle, these are my
Because
problems.
you might have figured out the solution and moved on.
Yeah,
And she's like, "Oh, well, I wasn't there for that part of the conversation."
exactly. I've already done it in my head, and I'm like, no, Danielle, these were my problems. Don't take them on yourself. They're mine. Okay, so this part is kind of just a fun little thing. It's called quick fire round.
Okay.
I have 5 questions. These are first things that comes to your mind. You both answer them. What is the one thing you currently are obsessed with? Is it Korean rap?
No.
What is it?
Actually, I've been obsessed with my improvements.
Okay,
I yeah.
okay. What's one thing you're obsessed with right now?
Well, it's funny because they're downstairs singing
Yeah,
Frozen.
I hear them.
I would have to say my grandchildren, and I say that because I have an opportunity to show them.
The mics are not picking it up, but it is
They they
adorable.
are singing,
It's
"Let It
not
Go."
just the little ones either.
Because this is what we do. When they come over, we are
Yes.
letting them be the loudest, letting them rule the
Yep.
space, letting them be confident, letting them make choices, all the things that I don't feel I necessarily got to do myself. And also, I'm not 100% sure I allowed my own children to do. So
Yeah.
to be able to be intentional with the grandkids, I am obsessed with letting them express themselves and be free.
I'm obsessed with them too. When we're done here, I have to go get a picture of Jazzy because I told her every time she comes over, I'm taking one picture and
Yes.
I can't
For her
wait.
height.
Well, it's not even just for her height. I wanted her to see how she looks in each picture and how she changes. But I'm not going to do that obviously for a while. But how old is she now?
She'll be
She'll be
3
3.
in April.
Yeah. So she's just that toddler,
Perfect toddler.
she's so cute.
So full
So
of emotions.
I might be obsessed with them too a little. What is the best piece of advice that you've received from a woman in a different stage of life than you? How about you, Danielle?
Um, I would go back to what Aunt Corene was saying, about the reprogramming and
Yeah,
letting yourself, um, letting have like a baseline of what you're gonna think, and
yeah,
then just doing yes or no for everything that comes your way.
that's awesome. I'm glad that you got something out of this conversation for real. What is your survival item? That's an item that you can't leave your house without. Most people say their phone. It's kind of whatever, but you can think of something else.
It's not a tangible item, but before I do anything, especially if I am a little nervous, but I try to do it for no matter what. If I'm getting ready to walk out the door, if I'm getting ready to attend an event, I'm going to work, I'm going to get gas, anything. I'm getting ready to go out and drive in the snow. Anything I say, that was easier than I expected. Every time, that was easier than I expected. To the point where I just say it, going out the door, and then I get home and I'm like, "Oh my god, that was easier than I expected." It really works for any small, large, no anxiety, all the anxiety, any type of situation.
I'm going to
Through
use your
yes,
survival
through
item.
the huff and puff. and
Because
also
it's always
sighing.
easier. It is always easier than what you're making it up in your brain to
Yes.
be. So there's a good one. How
Mm.
about you, Danielle? You got something? You can say your phone. You're allowed.
Oh, well, for my basic just grab and go, I'd say like my phone or wallet.
Yeah. Okay. What is a lie about your current age or stage that you want to debunk that most people think?
I think I look forward to. I don't have any official debunking to do, but I think I look forward to debunking menopause. And again, this is me saying it with zero experience, but I do plan to not make it weird. And then maybe it's because I've been binge watching something on Amazon, and now they've been showing me all sorts of commercials for prescriptions. And, they make it seem like, well, if you're this age, then you're definitely going to get on this medication. I'm like, well, if
I
everyone's
I
body
don't
is
believe
doing a
that.
certain thing, then it
No.
must be normal. Why are we fighting against this? Why is it so bad to be a little uncomfortable? I
Oh,
think
I'm gonna
that's
tell
my
you
thing.
what, the hot flashes aren't a little uncomfortable. And I have broke down and got some hormones,
Which
so
is fine, which is fine. I'm debunking that it's the next step for everyone.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Like, when I was probably 30, I realized that you didn't have to die of a sickness. Like, that's how everyone made it seem like you'll just get old and you'll start to deteriorate and you'll forget and you'll get this disease and get that
No, you
doesn't
don't
have
have
to be
to.
my truth. And that realization alone has made my health 1,000% better because I'm not
Yeah.
looking for something preemptive that's going to get me to this thing that I've
I
been told all
I'm
my life is completely normal. You're
yeah,
supposed to get sick and die. But that's not true at
not
all.
necessarily. What would you tell your 10-year-old self? Your parents aren't that bad?
It's okay to cry.
That's a good one. I think everybody needs
That's
to
a good
learn
one.
learn that one sometimes. All right, guys. That's the end of our show. I want to thank you, Corene, for coming,
Thank you for
and
having me.
Danielle, thank you for coming. You are exactly where you need to be. Keep growing, keep learning, and keep being you. This is Generation She signing off.